You are one decision away. You may say, yeah, I'm one decision away, but from what? Exactly. From that challenging thing that it can change your life forever. You might be facing some challenging stuff in any field of your life, and you are struggling with that for maybe weeks, months, or even years, but you haven't decided a firm decision to make that change. And sometimes something, maybe even small thing, triggers that decision. And that's what I'm talking about. But before continuing with my story, how I made a radical decision in my life, please go ahead, subscribe to our channel. If you haven't done it already, please click the subscribe button and share this video with your friends, family members, co-workers, people in your community, and help us to grow this channel. As you know, this is a new channel, Beyond Real Estate. Yes, we talk a little bit about real estate every month, about like market update or different things about real estate. However, our mission is to bring value to your life. So I'm going to share with you different things about changing the mindset, about the positive mindset, about like different story of my life or stories of my coaching students to bring you value and help you to change your life. And today is about a decision. The power of one decision. One decision can make a dramatic change in your life, or it can make some shift in your life today, but months or years down the road, you see yourself in a totally different place because of that little shift. And it can happen in any field of your life. So back to the story. When I was a teenager, the Islamic Revolution happened in Iran that I call it actually regression. Before the Islamic Revolution happened, I was revolutionary. I wanted some changes because the Shah, the king of Iran, was a dictator. However, that dictatorship was much better than the Islamic, like the religious dictatorship later on we got. That's one point. However, I was revolutionary and I wanted some changes. I'm not going to go in details on this video about my life during that time and what happened later. However, briefly, I'm going to mention mention some changes in my life and the challenges I was facing with to go to medical school and what happened before and after and how I made that big decision to get out and change my life. Before making that decision, actually, because I was very family oriented, and I am still very family oriented. And I loved my family, I loved my people, I loved my home country, and especially my hometown. I didn't want to get out, even I had many good opportunities, especially when I took the test, which equals to MCAT almost here in the United States. But in Iran, there is a test to go to college or a major, straight from medical school. And at that time when I graduated from medical school, the Islamic Revolution, that I call it regression, happened, and then later on they shut down all the higher education, so all medical school and all higher education got shut down and it was closed. And then later on, a couple of years later, they started to reopen, and at that time I took the test which equals to MCAT, but very, very difficult because the competition is really, really, really difficult in Iran, or it was at that time. Now it's different, but at that time, because the number of medical schools, the number of colleges were very limited, and the number of applicants were really high, so it was really difficult and very competitive to get in. When I took that test, I was ranked 251 among 600,000 applicants at that time, so I could go to any medical school basically. But I got a letter that it said, Mr. Doladi, despite of your results and your rank and like nationwide, that I was ranked very high, despite of that, you're not religious enough to go to medical school. So I fought back for 6 months, and finally I got accepted into a medical school which was different than my choice. They sent me purposefully to the second most religious city in Iran. Anyway, I became the president of students. I made a lot of changes in that medical school. Meanwhile, I was in medical school. They forced me several times to quit medical school. I didn't. And then later on in the third year of, medical school, I should mention, in Iran, because you go straight from high school, it's 7 years, 13 semesters, 14 semesters. I finished it in 13 semesters. During that time, they were pushing me a lot. They were forcing me to quit. And then I didn't. I finished it actually with honor. In the third year, I got married. And then my son was born the next year. After graduation from medical school, I got accepted in neurosurgery. And again, in continuation of those physical and psychological torturing, they told me I had to go to underprivileged area for a year, which is mandatory for everyone because education is free or was free in Iran at that time. And it was continuation of serving the underprivileged area from the previous regime, from the time of Shah, the king of Iran. It was nothing new that if you think that this religious dictatorship brought something positive, no, it was not. And I said, okay, so when I finish my residency, then I go. They said, no, you have to go. So they scheduled me to go to a small village. Then later on, I changed it. Before getting there, I changed it. And I ended up actually to go to an island in south of Iran, which was tax-free zone, and people were really rich. So people built clinics and houses in the same area, close to the clinic, for doctors, and handed to the government to bring them doctors. Yes, that island, which is called Qeshm, in south of Iran, is or at least at that time, from healthcare point of view, it was underprivileged, but because people were really rich, so they built those clinics, which was modern actually compared to that time, 1995 that I graduated, and built those very nice houses for doctors. So I got there and I made a lot of changes in the first few weeks in that clinic. I did observation, I did minor surgeries, and people loved me. And we were working like every other day. There was another doctor there also. He was loyal to the government, to the regime. I was not. I was called rebel. And during my day off, and then those days we were working from 8 to 4. After 4 p.m. it became our private clinic, so we could make money. So basically, I was making a lot of money for the clinic and for myself also. I was making like 10 times of my salary for myself. However, I made a lot of changes in that clinic, and in the second month I was in that clinic, the income of the clinic was tripled compared to before I got there. And in the third month, it surpassed the small hospitals in the main town. We were in a rural area. It was a very small town. It was called Ramkan. I'm going to show you the Ramkan clinic, hopefully, if I get some pictures. So I was there and I made those changes and people loved it. However, the other doctor, especially the doctor who was working with me, and he had a private clinic in that small town also. And the manager of the healthcare network didn't like it, and so they caused me a lot of trouble. And I was always thinking, why I'm going through this trouble? Why I don't get out? Why I don't make a dramatic change in my life? But as I said, because I loved my family, I like to be close to my family, which it was a couple thousand miles away from my hometown, but still I was in the country, and I loved everyone in my home country. And I was staying there. Despite all the trouble they made for me, I was staying there. And then one day something happened. It was very interesting. I was sitting in the clinic in my office, and patients were coming and going. And then while I was sitting waiting for the next patient to come in, I saw the door got opened. And I was expecting a patient, so I was looking at the door. I saw nobody, like, what's going on? And then I looked down, I saw these two beautiful black eyes, like, watching me, and that was my son. And he's like, "Dad, what are you doing?" And then at that moment, I thought, I went through those many problems, and now my son, my 3-year-old son, didn't have anything to do in that area, in that rural area. There was no daycare, there was nothing to occupy his life with something positive. And the only thing we had there, it was some logos and stuff that we took, some puzzles. We took with us to that island, but there was basically nothing there. And he was playing in dirt with the other children, like the children of the nurse who was living in the same area. And I'm like, this is the time. I have to make that decision. And then next day, I was called to the office of the manager of that health network. And so they told me, yeah, you have to stop doing minor surgery, you have to stop seeing that many patients. And there were a list of things that they wanted me to do it. And I didn't do it. I said, okay, give me some time. I think about that. And then the next day, I was told, they sent someone to my door, and they told me, oh, you have to evacuate your house, which the house was built by the people for the doctors who were working there. And you need to get another house, like to rent a house in town, in that small town, in that rural area. I'm like, why? And I realized that was another things in continuation of torturing me and my family, because I was not accepting what the Islamic regime was telling me and this healthcare manager was telling me. And then I said something to the revolution, and that I don't call it actually revolution, it was regression to back to 1400 years ago. and then to the leader of the revolution. So it caused me a lot of problem, and they called me to the office of the manager and handed me a letter, that kind of regret letter, that I'm regretted that I said such and such and I did such and such, and so I had to sign it. I said, I'm not going to sign it, give me some time. So basically they caused me a lot of trouble, and I was called by the intelligence service, and then someone that I helped his daughter 3 weeks before, and I saved her daughter's life 3 weeks before this happened to me, helped me actually to give me some time. And then I went home, I talked to my wife, now ex-wife, but at that time we were together, and I said, it's time to get out. So we got out. It was very, very difficult to cross the border at night from Iran to Turkey. Then the UN was not accepted refugee at that time, so crossing the border from Turkey to Greece, and stalking in an area without food and water for 3 days and 3 nights. I'm not going to go in details what happened during that time. That's the subject, or many subjects actually, in my book that I'm writing about my life. However, just I want to tell you that on the 3rd day, my son was fainting because lack of energy. So we surrendered ourselves to the Greek border patrol. They put us in jail for 3 days. On the 3rd night, along 82 other people, they deported us back to Turkey. And I'm not going to go in detail what happened at that night. I'm going to mention it in my book. But it was a difficult, very difficult time. The point here is, despite of all those challenges, all those difficulties that faces you when you go through this process, you need to stay firm on your decision making. And finally, 1 year later, we came to United States legally, okay, with I-94 as refugees. And well, it was difficult. It was pretty tough time because I couldn't speak English. I didn't know anything. I arrived with $46 in pocket for a family of 3. And later on, we made it. We became millionaire. We had a good life, and my son went to college, regardless what he did. But he came to a free country. And so I'm very glad that I made that one decision at that time. Even it was a very life-threatening situation during that period of time that we left Iran, and 1 year later we arrived here in the United States. But it was a good life that he continued from, he was 4 years old when we arrived, until now. So the point is, you are one decision away to make a dramatic change in your life, or make some shift, even if it's a 1 degree shift now in any field of your life that you have some challenges, you have some problems there, and you need to make a decision. It's very important to make that decision as soon as possible. Even if it's a little shift now, but months or years down the road, you will see yourself in a totally different place, in a totally different destination. And go with your decision. Make a firm decision and go with it, and you will see a lot of changes in your life. But stay with your decision despite of all challenges in the process, and all difficulties and all problems in your life. Stay with your decision. Hopefully This will help you to make a good decision in any field of your life that you have some challenges. In another video, I'll talk about how we as human, we make decisions based on what, and that's going to be a different subject. But now, I just wanted to tell you about the power of one decision that can make a big difference in your life. Either a dramatic change immediately, or like soon after you made that decision, or it's going to be a shift now, but later on it's going to be a total change, a very big change in your life. Thank you so much for watching. If you got value from this video, please go ahead and share it with your friends. Give us a thumbs up, like it, and share it, and subscribe to our channel. Please support our new channel. And as you know, this is Beyond Real Estate podcast. So it's not only about real estate. Yes, we talk about the market update and some stuff in real estate. However, it's about life. It's about the sweet home you make. It's about any field of your life. And we are committed, and our mission is to bring valuable stuff and to bring you value to your life. Thank you so much for watching, and go ahead, please subscribe and share it with your friends, family members, coworkers, people in your community. Have a great day.